What is going on, guys? A lot to cover. A lot to cover, and I'm going to be doing it by myself for the most part of this video. TJ might join us a little bit later, but guys, very interesting slate. I mean, that's why we got started early. It's 4:20, which is an hour and 10 minutes before I usually get off, and then I make my lineup and do all my GPP lineups. But guys, this slate, as of right now, even with Giannis being ruled out, is not straightforward. So very confusing. So a lot of edge, a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and dive in. But guys, first I want to talk about last night. Who stacked the Cavs with me? We had a fantastic night. I mean, overall, every single pick was fire. I mean, every single pick did well. So, I mean, just more success coming from, some of our GPP picks. If you guys are joining us for the first time and this is your first stream, what we do is we go over our favorite picks all the way through luck, and we make sure that we don't miss anybody. This slate in particular has so much pending injury news that I just decided to go, get this thing early because all this is going to happen while I'm on stream. Most likely. If it happens after lock, that's even better because there's going to be lower ownerships on these guys. Milwaukee is the obvious chalk on the slate. We're going to talk about it in just a second here. All right. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it. Like I said, TJ might be joining us a little bit later, but as of right now, you just got me. So thanks for everybody tuning in. Hopefully everybody's having a great Sunday. All right, so let's go to the injury report first. All right, let's look at these teams that are still pending injury news. Gordon Hayward's probable. Giannis is obviously out. Everybody's out for these guys. But then we're still pending injury news on Oladipo, Warren. Guys, please spam the chat if you hear anything. I'm obviously not going to be looking at my phone this entire time. And now Markelle Fultz is questionable. I mean, there's a ton of pending injury news. We know that Victor Oladipo is still questionable. Oh, hold on, guys. 1 second here. Victor Oladipo, Doug McDermott, TJ Warren, obviously a ton of minutes to go around there. We know that Porzingis is now questionable. I mean, unbelievable amount of injuries just all over the place. Now we have, I have to refresh now, we have Fultz out or Fultz is questionable for these guys. I mean, even with Cleveland, there's still questionable tags on Drummond. He's more probable, I believe. So just all the way down with Toronto too. So, guys, this is the reason why we join the streams, all right? We're going to break it down team by team. So let's start with the chalk, all right? Starting with Milwaukee, we know that Giannis is out. The biggest boost is going to go to Middleton. There's obviously, we know this from experience. We've had lots and lots of success on slates where the Giannis has been out because people just don't overexpose themselves to Milwaukee. And I think that's the case here again. So, again, we don't know who's going to get the starting we don't know who's going to get the starting role here for Giannis. We don't know whether it's going to be Marvin Williams, who got picked up, like a couple months or a month or two ago. And then we also have Ilyasova, who usually comes in and gets a lot of minutes. But I think Marvin Williams, they're projecting him at 28 minutes, where Ilyasova, they're projecting him at 12 right now. Okay? But statistically, Marvin Williams is not that efficient, even with Giannis off the court. So it's definitely going to throw us through a wrench here. So I don't really know what to think about Marvin Williams. Obviously, the minutes are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of usage to go around. So I still like Marvin Williams, and he's going to be one of the best on our sheet here still, regardless. But, if he goes out there and drops 15 points, I wouldn't be surprised. All right. But the guys you're going to lock in, the guys that you're going to start building your lineups around, okay, it's going to be Bledsoe, Middleton, and even Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez averages 1.04 fantasy points per minute in 27 minutes. I like him at this 4.6K price tag, a 6.1 point per dollar value on our sheet. Okay, so there's the chalk. It's going to be Bledsoe, Middleton. Bledsoe and Middleton average 1.46 between 1.46 and 1.48 fantasy points per minute. Okay, so those are going to be the guys that you're going to lock in from Milwaukee. It's not a pace-up spot for Milwaukee, but that's only because Giannis is out. It's still pretty pace-up for these guys that are on the court. Milwaukee's still one of my favorite teams to stack in GPP and just in general. So the chalk, Williams, Bledsoe, Middleton, and that's only if Williams gets the start, okay? If Ilyasova gets the start, ignore everything I just said. Okay, it's going to be Ilyasova, Bledsoe, Middleton, Lopez. Okay, those are the guys I'm most interested in. Yes, DiVincenzo is going to be GPP viable. Connaughton's going to be GPP viable, but again, with their minutes projected at 20, 25 minutes, you guys know I don't like anybody under 25 minutes usually. They come in, and if they don't get hot, then you're screwed. Okay, so again, those are going to be my favorite plays. So before I get any questions about Milwaukee, we've covered that. I know we have a small amount of viewers. I'll revisit them later on. But again, Milwaukee, very straightforward. Don't overthink it. Middleton, Bledsoe, Williams, plug them in. All right, guys, feel free to ask any questions into the chat. Okay, I'll do my best to answer them throughout the stream. Obviously, I'm going to touch base on them after I cover the entire slate. So again, guys, thank you so much for the support. Let's go ahead and move along here. So going to Phoenix. Phoenix, the picture hasn't really changed. Really, the picture hasn't changed in general since I posted my video. It was around 12. Sorry, guys. Roto Grinders was down for a majority of the day, so I do apologize for that, getting it out late. But Phoenix, okay? Phoenix is still the same. Aaron Baines, I don't get this because 1 second, he's $3,000 and he moves up $2,400, but he also dropped 69 fantasy points. Yes, he probably won't do that again. He probably never will do that again. That was probably a career game for him, okay? But he's still 5,400. Okay, so 5,400, and he averages, we can go ahead and break it down here. I'll show you what he averages with all these injuries off the court. So if we take off Kaminsky, I pretty much memorized this at this point. Oubre, we take off Cameron Johnson, and Ayton. Those are the four pieces of injury right there. All right, so let's look here. Well, actually, let's just take off, because I think Cameron Johnson will boost up the minutes a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. So Aaron Baines still averages 1.05 fantasy points per minute. And if he's playing 30 minutes, he's easily going to cover that price tag. This is going to be a slight pace-up spot for Milwaukee. If they're going to keep it close, it's going to be because of Aaron Baines down low, okay? We're going to have to monitor if he's actually going to get 30 minutes. He should. There should be no reason. So 5.4K, I do love Aaron Baines tonight. I also like all of these guys from Phoenix, just in general, for GPP options, just because they're showing very low ownership. So I do like Booker, I do like Bridges, I like Rubio, I basically like this entire team. Okay, but my favorite option, I think he's very cash viable, is Aaron Baines. I also like Devin Booker. I also like Bridges, okay, for GPPs, and I also like Rubio. These guys are showing underpriced in general. And again, they're playing heavy minutes. 30, 37, 38, 33, 34. They don't like to rely on their bench players too much. They're not like these other teams where their rotations are, between 20, 25 minutes. They're bench players. They literally don't play over 20 minutes. Everybody else plays their normal 30 plus minutes in the starting rotation. All right, guys, I will get to all your questions. All right, just bear with me here. I'm going to be breaking down all the chalk first, and then obviously I'm going to be breaking down all the injury news that we get on stream. It's going to happen. All right. So moving down the line here, let's go ahead and go to Cleveland. Actually, hold on. Let me break down the highest owned guys so we can go over those guys first. Okay. So yeah, let's go to the Spurs. All right, because the Spurs are interesting. Because now Lonnie Walker's out, so that eliminates another guy that's going to be put into the Pops rotation that's just going to confuse us. So you take him out. And this picture becomes a lot more clear just because he literally has to play some of these players. Okay? So DeRozan is still showing very well on our models here. They're going against Cleveland. This is going to be a slight pace-up spot for the Spurs. I do like DeRozan, and I think he's cash viable tonight. I also like him for GPPs because I think at 24%, that's showing pretty low. Okay? Trey Lyles has to play 32 minutes tonight, okay? Unless he gets in foul trouble. He just has to. I like him with his usage, averaging over 1 fantasy point per minute on our models. And again, going against Cleveland should have a soft matchup. I love DeRozan, Lyles, and I also like Brent Forbes at 27 minutes. He should get a bump in minutes just because Lonnie Walker is out at 3.2 for GPPs. Okay, I love that stack tonight. I love it for GPPs because it's going to go overlooked and so many people are frustrated with the Spurs. But guys, like I said, guess what? Popovich has to play these guys. Obviously, Lonnie Walker, you knock out another person in the rotation. So I do like these players for GPP. I think DeRozan at this point becomes very cash viable. Brent Forbes is going to go flying under the radar here. Lyles is also going to be under the radar at 9 and 12% owned. Okay, those are the only guys I really want to talk about from the Spurs. Like, yes, you can take stabs at Johnson, White, Murray. Yes, they're all good options, but I think that you're going to take the sure minutes here with Forbes. Forbes obviously plays at about 25 minutes every game. Lonnie Walker's out, so they're penning him at 27. DeRozan obviously gets minutes, and so does Lyles. All right, those other guys become decent GPP options. All right, so that's my take on the Spurs. And I think DeRozan's the only cash viable person from this team. And then with Cleveland. So let's talk about Cleveland because I love Cleveland. I've been starting them practically every night that they've been on a tight rotation. Guys, they're also in a pace-up spot here. They're coming off a back-to-back, but they're playing at home against the Spurs. Yes, they should lose, but they should also keep it competitive because the Spurs really aren't that good. Not as good as they have been in the past. So let's look at Cleveland. Delly here at 3.2K. Started him last night. Played 31 minutes. He's going to probably play 32 minutes again tonight. Just a really good value play in general. And of course, Cleveland is all under-owned. Again, I love Cleveland for a stack. They're going to go overlooked. I'd like these guys for GPPs. Okay, because of their tight rotations. Delly at 3.2, there's some mispricings along the board. Osman finally stepped it up. Again, has been stepping it up as of late. 25, 24, or 24, 30 DK points. I love Cleveland because they get overlooked drastically. They're showing at 3%, 1% ownership. The only guy that's showing any decent ownership is Delly. Okay, so my three favorite guys here are going to be Delly, Sexton, Osman. Okay, and yes, Love is also viable, but these other guys are just getting a little too pricey. Like Drummond, I'm not going to touch. Probably Tristan Thompson, I'm not too intrigued on. Again, we're still pending injury news on these guys, so this could get even of a tighter rotation than what we normally expect. Okay, so if Tristan Thompson's ruled out, I mean, all aboard the Cleveland train. Guys, this tight rotation just keeps paying off. I love Cleveland. I love San Antonio, and I love Milwaukee tonight. Okay, if you're going to go GPP, those guys are so low owned. Drummond is probably, yes. I think Tristan Thompson is still questionable. Guys, also help me out in the chat because I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not looking at my updates here. So I'm just going to double check for Cleveland. As of right now, Porter. Okay, so Tristan Thompson is going to play. So that actually changes things just a little bit. On track to play Sunday. Thank you for the update. It looks like Drummond's going to play. And Wade doesn't really matter. Questionable. Okay, he's probably going to play. So I like these guys. I like that the three guys that I'm going to target from Cleveland, Dellavedova, Sexton, Osman. Those guys are just going to get overlooked just for GPP, okay? I'm not saying these guys are cash plays. I'm saying these guys are strictly GPP. They're going to get overlooked. And Delly could even be cash viable, okay? That's how good of a play he is and has been as of late. All right, now let's go talk about this massive pace-up spot for Miami versus Washington. Also, guys, we had a great night last night. If you guys won a lot, please let me know. Also, please hit that like button on this stream. Really do appreciate it, guys. Appreciate all the support. We've been having a lot of fun. I'll talk about TJ's moment here in a second because I know a lot of you are asking for updates on what happened to TJ. We posted it to Twitter, but let me just tell you how crazy that was. I'll talk about it in a second. All right, so with Miami, all of these guys are in a pace-up spot. All of them have a very high ceiling. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. They're all great plays, or they're all good plays. Derrick Jones at 25 minutes. Averages just under fantasy point per minute going against Washington. Another good value play, I'll just say it. Good for GPPs. He's not cash viable, so definitely a guy that's going to fly under the radar. Derrick Jones, okay? Dragic also going to fly under the radar. Jimmy Butler, a fantastic option, 8.1, obviously pace of spot versus Washington. So again, all these guys are going to be cash viable. Jimmy Butler, the most obvious play, just obviously because you take a superstar and it's in a pace-up game. Thank you, James. Yeah. Thanks for the shout. That's awesome. Won $55 on a $4 entry. That's awesome. Also, Bam Adebayo is going to get overlooked. 18%. These percentage ownerships are showing low on these guys. You obviously target superstars in pace-up games like Jimmy Butler and Adebayo. So if you ask for me to choose one of the two, it's going to be Jimmy Butler just because he's obviously more of a scorer. He's going to carry the bulk of the offense. We also like to target shooters in these games. So Duncan Robinson, a good option. Dragic, a good option. Again, for GPP. Okay? These guys are going to get overlooked just because of Milwaukee. All the chalk's on Milwaukee. And obviously, it's going to be all aboard Dallas if anything else changes for them. Okay, flipping over to Washington. So Washington, they're going to be in a pace down spot, but there's some obvious mispricings here. Troy Brown at 25 minutes. Yes, he's viable. Another good GPP value option. There's a lot of good GPP value options here. I do like Troy Brown. And then Bradley Beal obviously is an outside GPP option. I don't know about these other guys, like Thomas Bryant obviously could do very well, but he has a decent matchup here. Miami ranks 27th in the league against versatile bigs, so that favors Thomas Bryant in this game. So I do like him. Okay, but the one guy I'm interested in the most is Troy Brown. Obviously a very, very productive guy. Averages just over a fantasy point per minute against just with a small sample size with the current injuries off the court. And SGA's questionable, guys. Thank you so much for the updates. I'm telling you, this is going to be a crazy slate. I did expect this, so you guys get to watch me panic on stream. You guys all get to watch me panic. So keep firing those updates away. Thank you for the support, guys. I'm going to have to keep my Twitter open for my fantasy labs. Yeah, so those are the last two updates. All right, so let's move down here to... Let's go to Houston. So I just want to talk about Houston because their studs are still underpriced. Harden and Westbrook. Obviously, Harden has been sucking. Westbrook has been doing very well. And the percentage ownership kind of reflects that. So we look at Westbrook slightly higher owned than Harden, which makes Harden more of a GPP play. Now more than ever, 37 minutes. His price tag went up. So again, against Orlando, they're actually in a slight pace down spot. If you're going to be looking for a very, very low owned superstar, and if Porzingis does play, I do recommend James Harden as a good GPP option, and obviously Russell Westbrook. I'm actually showing overweight on them as of right now, both of them. So I think they're both very viable. All right. Some undervalued guys in this game in general. Robert Covington coming in at 8%, a 5.7 point per dollar value on their sheet. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for these guys. I just want to talk about the two superstars. They're showing very, very low owned from these guys. And then obviously with Orlando, we know that Fournier's out. And if Markelle Fultz is ruled out, I believe a lot of these guys are going to be more chalky than normal. All right. The picture's going to look completely different. Usually when a person gets ruled questionable, when they've been probable this entire time, it doesn't bode well for them. So Markelle Fultz probably is going to sit, if I had to guess right now. It says right calf tightness. So let's look at that. Let's look at what this picture is going to look like with Markelle Fultz out as well. All right, so we take Fournier off. We take Fultz, Aminu, and one more guy I'm missing. Isaac. There he is. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. Really appreciate all the support. Really appreciate you guys joining on Sunday afternoon. I know everybody's getting ready for work in the morning. Or at least their mindset, right? It's been a grind all week. We've been really, really on fire this weekend. So again, appreciate all the support, all the subscribers. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. All right? Please show the support. We do appreciate all that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this picture. Terrence Ross. So Vooch gets a 4.6% boost in usage. Terrence Ross gets the biggest. Wow, look at this. You can't see because of my big head. Hold on, let me move it over here. All right, so this is 5.6% boost in usage and 0.22 fantasy points per minute boost and over 400 minutes, almost 500 minutes. Sample size. Averages 1.13 fantasy points per minute. Guys, if Markelle Fultz is ruled out, I'm in love with Terrence Ross. Going against Houston, this is going to be a slight pace-up spot. A slight pace-up spot for them, so I do like all these guys. Wow. All right, and obviously with Fultz being ruled out, people like Augustine are going to get a boost in minutes. Augustine should see about 30, to be honest. He should see the starting role, if I'm not mistaken. A window should get a boost. Gary Clark too. But wow, look at that. So Terrence Ross, 1.13 fantasy points per minute. Appreciate the support, guys. Vooch gets a boost in usage, but not in fantasy points, but I wouldn't look at that too much because it's only an 86-minute sample size. Terrence Ross is the one guy I'm looking at the most. Augustine, 0.89 fantasy points per minute, not bad. Aaron Gordon doesn't bode too well. I'm in love with Terrence Ross if Fultz is ruled out. All right? So we're going to come back to them if Fultz is ruled out officially, but that's what that's going to look like. And I guess we could talk about OKC if SGA is ruled out, right? Well, let's go over some teams before we do that. Let's go to Detroit. So Detroit, Brandon Knight, I recommended as a GPP option last night. He got off to a very slow start and then still hit value last night. So I really like this matchup against the Knicks. I still think he's a good GPP option. Obviously averages just under a fantasy point per minute. There's been some guard play that has eaten into his usage just a little bit, but I still like him. Obviously, they plan to start him and play him as their main point guard. I like him at 10% ownership. Christian Wood has just been on fire, guys. Another good option against the Knicks. Sorry, just reading the comments. So yeah, I think just from this game, the only guy that I really like is Knight and Wood, okay? But I did want to talk about those two guys from Detroit. And guys, let's talk about Sacramento. So Sacramento, at least on their models, they're all showing not all of them. There's two guys that are showing undervalued a lot. And just because of their percentage ownership, I keep giving you guys a ton of GPP options. I know you're probably wondering about the cash plays, and we'll go back to that. There's been more viewers that have joined since we've covered the chalk, so I'll go back to them in just a few moments here. But Harrison Barnes plays 36 minutes last night, and he got taken out early, and he still got to 30 fantasy points. Against Toronto, I know this is going to be about an average. It's going to be an average of pace-up spot for Sacramento, so I do like their matchup here. But Harrison Barnes, he just keeps getting overlooked. I mean, his fantasy production has been fantastic. I mean, pretty steady. 28, 23, 30, 30. That all covers his price tag. 23 hits about his price tag. But again, at 4% ownership, I've really been taking advantage of him as a GPP option, for sure. All right. Fox, 7.7K, obviously got taken out early. I actually had him in my main single entry last night. He was on fire, got to 41, and also shows undervalued on our models. Guys, I really, really like Fox. And Bogdanovic, again, played, if he plays 30 minutes, I like him as well. Went ballistic last night. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So, I have a story for you guys. For you guys who aren't with us, and for you guys who already know, who are in a Discord, are the first ones that knew about this. TJ, our other analyst, who usually tunes in, he won a GPP takedown. This was 2-3 nights ago. $27 entry, and it was a ticket to a contest, a $400 entry contest, where if you won that $400 contest, you were invited to a live finale in New Jersey. It's a sports betting finale. And then I was actually going to go down with them. We're going to have a blast. But the overall value for that ticket was $7,000. DraftKings would have paid for your entry, your flight down there, and just your stay down there. I think it was 3 to 4 days. So TJ entered this contest with Overlay. There was supposed to be 21 people, but only, I think, 12 to 15 people actually joined. I forget how many, but he entered it because that Overlay, he only had to compete against about 15 other people as opposed to 21. So he entered it. Our lineup did very well last night. He entered our double up lineup in it, I believe. Long story short, he was up. He had 318 fantasy points. Okay, this is story time. He had 318 points, and he had no remaining players in the late games. There were two guys below him. One guy had Damian Lillard, who actually didn't do very well at all, so that was great. He actually beat the guy with Damian Lillard, and then there was a guy underneath of him who had Bogdanovic. TJ was comfortably in the lead. Okay. Let's go flash forward all the way to the fourth quarter. Okay. Sacramento's blowing out the Trailblazers, and TJ's up by like 5 points, 4.5, 5 points. There's about 7 minutes left in the game. They're blowing them out. Everybody from Sacramento comes out, but Bogdanovic comes in. And I text TJ, I'm like, man, this is like a worst case scenario. Like if Bogdanovic does anything, like this is going to be the sweat of the century. Bogdanovic, he gets like an assist, a rebound, nothing too crazy. But fast forward about 3 minutes left in the game, and you just know Bogdanovic, and they're about to unload all the other Kings, like third stringers. Bogdanovic is about to come out. Somebody goes to the line for the Blazers, and nobody comes out yet. Bogdanovic, I believe, gets an assist after that. They run back down the floor. I just know he's about to get pulled. Bogdanovic gets the ball, throws up a three-pointer, hits it. TJ loses the grand finale final, the ticket to it. by 0.25 fantasy points, Bogdanović gets pulled immediately. It was the worst luck I've ever seen from an individual. Bogdanović literally hit a three-pointer. TJ lost by 0.25 fantasy points. He ended up winning $400 from it, but the difference between $7,000 and the $400 was so significant, I didn't know what to say to him. And no, he's not here because he's recovering from that. But it was the worst beat I have ever seen, the worst change of events I've ever seen. And Bogdanović happens, the irony behind all this is Bogdanović actually happens to be TJ's favorite player, one of his favorite players. I didn't know what to say to him. I just texted him. I just legit said, I don't know what to say to you right now. Like, that's what I said to him. But it was just such a bad beat, and the lineup was fantastic. And this guy had Bogdanović at like 4%. Anyway, story time's over. If you guys, when you guys see TJ, please tell him you're sorry to hear that. Please give him your condolences. Please send your condolences to him. I feel bad for him. I mean, the guy has had swings like that before, but nothing that bad. Like, there was a time where he was a rebound away from $12,000, and he ended up only winning $25,000. I know, only $25. No, but he was about to win $12,000 from a rebound. So, but that was the worst one because he was about to get a ticket to fly down to the live finale, guaranteed money, even more money. Man, I tell you, it was the worst luck. It was the worst luck. Anyway, let's go back to DFS. All right, so Milwaukee, for you guys who are just joining, thank you so much for showing your support. Please hit that subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. Let's go to the chalk first. So for you guys that missed it, Marvin Williams, Bledsoe, Middleton for cash. Start them. Do not look back. Of course, if Marvin Williams does start, if Ilyasova does start, he's gonna the chalk's obviously gonna switch them. But we do suspect Marvin Williams is gonna get 28 minutes. He's gonna be in the starting rotation. Brook Lopez is also a fantastic option, but showing at 22% is the only reason I'm not tagging him as a cash play. I think he has tremendous upside. I'm gonna be heavy on him in GPP's. TJ is still crying in the car. Yeah, guys, it was rough. I'm telling you. For you guys who stayed with us all the way to the stream, you saw him enter the contest, and I was just like, man, I have a bad feeling about this. But yeah, so I've honestly covered the chalk, guys. Do you want to hear about anything else? I'm going to build my lineups one more time here. I'm going to refresh to see what my ownership looks like, and then I'll go ahead and answer any questions. I know I sped through that, but it's only because it's me. It's really straightforward as of right now, but the injury news is going to switch it up 100%. Like, Indiana's going to switch up everything. So is Dallas. The Indiana-Dallas game is everything that I'm interested in right now. And Markelle Fultz now. So there's still a ton of pending injury news. For me personally, I kind of hope that it comes out after the lock so I can get these guys at lower ownership. I need your honest professional opinion. Which two studs had the highest upside? Westbrook, Harden, Doncic, and Beal. Beal does not because he's in a pace down spot. I like, for the ownership, which means that also determines upside, I like Harden and, of course, Doncic if Porzingis does not play. Those are my two favorite studs, but Westbrook's always in the picture too. So you can take a pick between I think Harden and Westbrook are pretty much the same. Doncic definitely if Porzingis does not play. All right. So we can talk about OKC. Let's talk about OKC if SGA is ruled out. Obviously, he did get the late questionable tag there. So let's run the numbers. Let's see. I think there's a couple bench players for them out right now. Baisley, Roberson, and SGA. Baisley. All right, so let's look at this picture. So with SGA ruled out, if he is, looks like everybody gets a slight boost. Chris Paul, Steven Adams even. Actually pretty significant increase in fantasy points per minute. Gallinari actually goes down, which is interesting. I want to see how much of a sample size. That's at 155 minutes, so not too big. Schroeder goes slightly down, but that's in a lot of minutes. So the only guy that really gets impacted here, it looks like Chris Paul and Adams actually go up. So that's good to note. Against Boston, it's a pace down spot. It's not like that's going to be slate changing, but that definitely opens up some options for GPP. So if SGA is ruled out, I do like Chris Paul and I do like Steven Adams. Obviously, Steven Adams with a good matchup against Boston Bigs. So there's that. But these other guys, I mean, Gallinari is underpriced in general, so I do like him. GPP options, though. It's not going to be slate changing. Not going to be slate changing. Yeah, I hope TJ can watch this and see all your comments. I think right now he is golfing, taking a day off. But like I said, he should call us here pretty soon. He said he would. I don't know yet. But yeah, I mean, this slate's pretty straightforward as of right now. We're going to be playing the waiting game, so let me crunch the numbers here. Percentage ownership hasn't changed. So I'll give you guys a rough overview of the slate, and then I'll go ahead and let you guys ask any questions. All right. Thoughts on DeMar? Yes, no. So you missed the DeMar thoughts. I will go back to them. I'll talk about them in just a second. I like the Spurs in general. I'll tell you why in a second. All right. So this is basically kind of what my Patreon looks like. At least my recommendations are going to change here, obviously, with all the injuries. But here's what I'm going to say. Eric Bledsoe, start the Milwaukee Bucks, first of all. If Williams starts, Williams, Middleton, Bledsoe start automatically. Don't look back. The percentage ownership is going to be way too big anyway, so it's not going to make that big of a difference. Marvin Williams is going to be the lowest owned, but he still has pretty high upside. Okay, it's not that good of a fantasy point per minute player, but again, if you take somebody like Giannis with such high usage off the court, it's going to impact them a lot. Okay, then you're going to be looking next for another option here. I like the Spurs. I'm going to go back to Sano's question here. I like the Spurs. The reason is, let's go back. They are without Lonnie Walker, and of course, Lonnie Walker is always a question mark with Popovich's rotations. You take another guy out of that rotation, and DeRozan has to play. Brent Forbes has been getting steady minutes here. He's been getting 26, 24, 23 minutes, okay? That's with Lonnie Walker playing. I only suspect his minutes will go slightly up. At 27 minutes, he's another good value play. I like him as a punt option. And then Trey Lyles obviously has been getting minutes. So I like those three from the Spurs for GPPs because they're going to go underlooked or overlooked. They're going to go overlooked completely. Okay? DeRozan for cash for sure is definitely a viable cash option. If I had to build my lineups right now, this is what I'm starting with. Bledsoe, Baines because he's such a good play. Middleton, Marvin Williams, DeRozan. Okay? Other cash viable players. Booker, Brook Lopez. Yeah. I'll go ahead and leave it with those guys. Did you say you like the Spurs throw up the trash cutscene? Against the Cavs tonight, they should win. If they don't, yeah, I've given up all hope. Yeah, no, the Spurs are obviously on the decline. They need to get rid of DeRozan. I'm not a DeRozan fan. Obviously, the Spurs have been built on defense for such a long period of time, and DeRozan does not play defense, so he just doesn't fit the role. I'm not saying DeRozan's bad. He just doesn't fit the Spurs system, at least Popovich's system. It's obviously a broken system right now. So I love DeRozan. I think he has great heart. Obviously a competitor, but man, just does not fit the normal system. All right, so let's go ahead and start answering questions, guys. That is a rough overview of the slate. Okay, I do like the Spurs, and I like DeRozan. Obviously, Indiana, Dallas, and Orlando are all pending injury news, and those are the huge pieces of injury news that we're going to wait on here. All right, so let's go ahead and start answering questions here. Bledsoe over T. Brown, absolutely. Bledsoe is one of the best plays on the slate. Milwaukee Suns stack for all the money. Yeah, I don't hate that. The only thing with the Suns is that obviously with Aaron Baines, his price got increased. It's not as straightforward of a stack as it was the other night, but I do like the Suns stack for sure. My favorite stacks as of right now are going to be Cleveland. Well, here, I'll just start in order. Are going to be the Spurs, Cleveland, and the Bucks. Those are my favorite stacks. Okay? I'm not going to tell you which specific players because I saved that for the Patreon. But again, a lot of mispriced players in those games. If you guys were watching the entire stream, you can probably gauge which ones. Small forward. Under 5.2. Let's look. Under 5.2. Yeah, Duncan Robinson's in a good spot. Oh, I love Harrison Barnes tonight. I think Harrison Barnes has just been playing so many minutes you can't really look away, and I really do like Osman. There's a lot of options there. I like Osman, Barnes, and Duncan Robinson. If I had to pick, I would say Harrison Barnes or Osman. I like both those players a lot. It's going to be hard to choose. They're both very low owned, so again, GPP options for sure. My current GPP line: Bledsoe, DeRozan, Middleton, Williams, Vooch, Fox, Ross, Baines. I like Ross a lot more if Fultz does not play. I like that line as of right now, but Sano, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be some injury news that does change the slate. Guys, what I recommend is playing the chalk from the Milwaukee game. Like, I wouldn't play anybody from this OKC Boston game if there's no injury news that does come out before then, because these games are going to be heavily impacted by injuries. There's going to be some injuries here in this Indiana-Dallas game that are going to switch up the slate for sure. What about Randall? Let's look at Randall. Oops. So yeah, Randall 7.2, obviously a huge mispricing. I like him for his ownership, 18% ownership. He's definitely cash viable too. Again, the only thing that scares me is Detroit, a slight pace down team. Now, the Knicks happen to be in a slight pace up spot, so that's interesting. Yeah, no, I do like Randall for GPPs for sure. And he's cash viable with that price tag. There's just so many options tonight for power forward center positions. There usually is. Yeah, I mean, he's hit value in all of these games. Randall's definitely an intriguing option for sure. You guys know I love Randall. SGA's out. All right. Thanks for spamming the chat because I just got that. All right, so let's update. Like I said, it shouldn't be too greatly impacted here. I have to wait for their minutes to update anyway, so it's funny because I have their usage pulled up here. So with SGA rolled out, again, just GPP viable. This is not going to be a slate-breaking injury news. Like, obviously, Milwaukee players are still way, 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 way better place, okay? I will say that right now. Milwaukee's still where the chalk is. This is not going to be slate-breaking, but that makes Chris Paul a fantastic GPP option, averaging 1.25 fantasy points per minute, and obviously it's Chris Paul. Does get a slight boost in usage, a 1.7% boost in usage, 0.08 fantasy points per minute. I do like Chris Paul as a GPP flyer. As far as Schroeder and who else am I looking for? Oh, Gallinari. Their usage actually goes slightly down, but again, I wouldn't look at that too much just because they're very small sample size for those two. So, again, those guys are just GPP options. I'll calculate once the minutes are updated for OKC. It looks like their line's already moving down. So, he's still projected at 35 minutes. So, again, I'll wait till he's out of the player pool. And, yeah, Cam Johnson was expected to be out. So, I already calculated everything with the assumption that Cam Johnson was going to be ruled out. But thanks for the update, guys. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit that like button, too. Really do appreciate all the support. Westbrook and Baines or DeRozan and Bam? That's tough. I'll say DeRozan and Bam for GPPs. I'll say Westbrook and Baines for cash. I think those two are safer. Baines is getting overlooked in general for GPPs. Baines is becoming more of a GPP option for me just because of his low ownership. But guys, 5.4K price tag for this guy is way too low. Way too low with all of these injuries off the court. Ayton's not playing. Cam Johnson's not in there. Kaminsky's not in there. Who else are they going to rely on? You're looking at a starting center that gets a lot of usage here, 30 minutes at 10% ownership. Very, very good GPP option. Bridges from Phoenix. Yes, I talked about Bridges earlier. I love what Bridges has been doing as of late. 5.4K. I think he's 5.7 now. But it just gets too many minutes. I mean, he's not that great of a fantasy point per minute player, but I do like him. Just tremendous upside with his minutes. It's like the same thing. Him and Barnes, I just like a lot because they're just out there the entire game, and especially with Bridges benefiting from all of these injuries, he's definitely been able to step up his game, so I like him for GPPs for sure. All right, Augustine, Michael Carter-Williams. I'm assuming that you're assuming that Fultz is out when asking this question, or Delly. All around the same price. Augustine will be very chalky if if Fultz is ruled out. Augustine will be playing about 25 to 30 minutes, probably about 28 minutes. But Augustine, I think, bottom barrel price tag. Let's take a look at them real quick. So Augustine will be a fantastic play. Augustine, yeah, 3.6. So he'll be very chalky if Fultz is ruled out for sure. I'll say Augustine. Whoever starts if Fultz is ruled out. I mean, we haven't seen that really happen. We can only assume it's going to be Augustine. Jimmy or DeMar? Jimmy or DeMar? It's like straight up. That's tough again, man. Straight up, I will say Jimmy Butler because of that pace up. I usually target anybody versus the Wizards. Jimmy Butler is going to be probably more chalky. Well, he's not going to be more chalky. I'll say Jimmy Butler for GPPs, and I'll say DeMar DeRozan for cash. Yeah, Jimmy Butler has really been surprising with this ownership here. That's the first time I really looked at it. Yes, guys. Also, I will get off in about 30 minutes from now and then come back on to answer any last-minute questions, okay? So I won't leave you guys hanging. Of course, we should get a lot of injury news that will impact the slate from Indiana, Dallas, and Orlando. So again, I will help you guys out as much as I can. I'm really about to roster Delhi. Well, guys, if you saw what Delhi did last night, this is a better spot for them. They're going against the Spurs, pace-up spot. Delhi at 31 minutes, 3.2 has been killing it. A great value play. 36 minutes. I mean, how many assists did he get last night? 14 assists. I'm not saying he's going to get 14 assists again, but he only got 7 points last night. Definitely a good play. He was just heavily involved in everything, really, on both sides of the floor. That's just Delhi. Don't hate on Delhi. Got me really far in the tournament. I got 22nd out of 176 last night, so I didn't get a takedown, but I definitely made some money, so it was definitely a good night for me too. Not just TJ. Well, as good of a night as he could have had. You talk about Rashawn Holmes already. Missed your take. I think Rashawn Holmes only projected at he's only projected 23 minutes. Anybody under 25 minutes in general, that 6.1K price tag does scare me. I'm not really high on Rashawn Holmes. I'm just not unless he gets more minutes, guys. I do like Holmes as a player, but not at those minutes. Not at those minutes. Stud ownership. You want to take a look at the ownership? Sure. Let me go ahead and refresh my page, though. Let's go ahead and look at the ownership for all these pay-up options. Last time I looked, Harden was getting overlooked. So right now, Harden at 11%, Doncic 29%. This is tournaments, by the way. Bradley Beal 11%. Like, if I'm looking at ownership here, I much prefer Harden over Bradley Beal just because it's going to be a pace-down spot for Bradley Beal. And Miami does perform well against guards. Westbrook 19%. I like Westbrook. And then, yeah, I guess those are the studs. Vooch 20%. Vooch, I know I've talked about Vooch already. Vooch is another great play. All right, I think they might have updated OKC's minutes here. Yes, I do believe that they did. Because Gallinari was only at 31 minutes. So yeah, let's compute this real quick. I'll give you guys my take on OKC. I can already tell you right now, Chris Paul is going to pop. Just a little bit, though. Gallinari. Sorry, guys. Just computing some numbers for you. Yeah, so Steven Adams is going to bode well here. So, yeah. All right, so here's what that did. Steven Adams is in a great spot. He averages 1.24 fantasy points per minute with SGA off the court. I do like him. He gets a slight boost in usage. Obviously, all these guys are getting overlooked. Just GPP plays. I wouldn't stick these guys in the cash lineups, okay? Schroeder is a great option here at 32 minutes, 5.6. Really, all these guys are good just because Schroeder and Gallinari are so underpriced in general. That's why they pop. And then Chris Paul is also a good option. I wouldn't stack these guys necessarily because they are only projected at 106.75 right now, but I would play a couple of these guys if you want to take stabs at them. They're going to get a nice little boost in usage from SGA being out. Ilyasova starting. All right. That wasn't expected. I'm going to have to confirm that, though. Make sure you guys aren't lying. Yep, Ilyasova starting. Oh, boy. So that switches up things. We'll see how the ownership kind of shakes up. I'll see how the minutes kind of shake up here in just a second. Let me go back to the ownership, see if that already switched. It probably did not. Yeah, Harden's getting overlooked in general. Yeah, Ilyasova is not going to get updated yet. So that kind of takes away Marvin Williams, right? Because I think Marvin Williams will kind of go back to the start or the last rotation there. Hold on, let me turn on the light, guys. I can't see. So Luka is a top stud if Porzingis is out. Yes, I can confidently say that. I mean, obviously with Porzingis out, he gets like a significant fantasy point per minute boost. Matt doesn't believe us. No, I believe you guys. I just like it to be official. I've gotten some spam in the chat before where the guy's just constantly lying, so. Also, guys, NHL lineup has been posted. If you guys are interested in NHL, we just posted that to our website. Favorite centers. Let's go over favorite centers. While we wait for Milwaukee's minutes to update, let's go ahead and go over a few questions. Guys, feel free to enter all the questions into the chat. All right, favorite centers I can tell you right now. So it's definitely going to be Baines and Turner, and both those guys are very low owned. I like Brook Lopez. He could be cash viable at this point. I like Brook Lopez, so I like Baines, Turner, and Brook Lopez as my favorite. Some other guys top the list here. Thomas Bryant, but I don't like taking anybody under 25 minutes. Bryant's going to pop here. I like Steven Adams now as an outside GPP option. And of course, we talked about Randall earlier. Ilyasova or Beltrans. Well, Beltrans plays an MLB, so definitely not going to play Beltrans tonight. I think you mean Bertans. I can tell you right now, Ilyasova is going to be very chalky. If he is starting, he's definitely going to be playing about 20-25 minutes, and we know how explosive he is without Giannis on the court. George Hill active. Does that hurt Bledsoe? No, I wouldn't be worried about that. I mean, it's going to eat into his minutes a little bit, but guys, here, let me show you. Let me show you Milwaukee's picture real quick while we're on the topic. You take Giannis off the court, and you take Wilson is not playing. We'll throw him in there. Yeah, either way, you're still playing him. Yep. Ilyasova averages 1 fantasy point per minute. We're going to assume he's getting between 20-25 minutes. So that's going to move him at least to a 6.7 point per dollar value on our sheet. Ilyasova is a must. Okay. Chris Middleton. Here, I need to move my big head again. Sorry. 1.46 fantasy points per minute. He gets a boost of 7.2 fantasy points per minute. 7.2% in usage. Eric Bledsoe gets a 9% boost in usage. Bledsoe and Middleton pretty much average the same fantasy point per minute output with Giannis off the court. Okay? That's how good they are. They get such a significant boost. These guys just have so much upside regardless of their minutes. Okay, and Bledsoe's projected at 28 right now, Middleton 33. That's why Middleton has more ownership because he's obviously projected to be in the game longer. Middleton steps into the role more of Giannis, so Middleton's probably going to be more involved in the offense, but Bledsoe just as good. It's just that Middleton's simply playing more minutes, okay? They have not moved the minutes down for Williams. So Kleber a better play than Trey Lyles if Porzingis is out. I don't know yet because I haven't calculated those numbers, but yes, he should be at 4.9. Should get a heavy boost in minutes and usage. I believe whenever Porzingis is off the court, Kleber averages just over a fantasy point per minute, so I do like him. I think Trey Lyles is around that same amount, but I think Dallas is also they have less people in the rotation. So again, should be more of a toss-up, but I do like Kleber as well. What is the ownership on Elf and Randall at the moment? Yeah, it's for New York, it's very low in general. I do like New York for GPP. So Randall, I like a lot. Alfred Payton's showing at 4% ownership right now. They're going to go Overlook for sure. For sure. Again, we're just waiting for these minutes to update. I'm going to go ahead and just have them up here. Ilyasova still at 12. Hurts a bit. I'm assuming that's what you meant. But Bledsoe lock. Yeah, Bledsoe's going to be a lock, guys, tonight. Bledsoe, at least for cash. I mean, in GPPs, to be honest. TJ Warren, question mark. Yeah, he's still questionable. So, if he does play, yeah, at 37 minutes, we obviously like him. But I'm more interested in Indiana if he is rolled out, because those 37 minutes are significant. So you look at all those minutes, they go up and down. We know that Aaron Holiday is going to get a boost. Justin Holiday is also going to get a significant boost at 25 minutes. He's going to be up in the 30 range. Everybody, TJ McConnell is going to get a nice boost in minutes. So I like Indiana a lot. I like Indiana a lot if TJ Warren gets ruled out. I believe he's still questionable. Him, Oladipo. I know that McDermott is out. Yeah, he's questionable right now. All right. We're still waiting on these Milwaukee minutes to update. 12 minutes right now. All right, guys, fire away any questions you have into the chat. Again, appreciate all your support. I would like it if you guys considered to hit that thumbs up button. Really do appreciate it. GPP centers. Yeah, so I touched base on the ownership on my favorite centers in general. I like these centers. Aaron Baines, I like a lot for GPPs. Hold on. Aaron Baines, I like a lot for GPPs. Obviously, Ilyasova is going to get a higher boost in ownership. I like Miles Turner, regardless. Bryant's obviously in the picture. And Brook Lopez. I like Steven Adams a lot in GPPs as well. Their ownership is just way, way, way too low. Way too low. Turner or Baines? That's the question of the night. I'm going to say Baines. But Turner is obviously a fantastic option as well. Wood, a good play. Yeah, Wood is a good play. I do like Wood. There's a lot of center options, but my favorite one's Baines, Turner, Lopez, Randall, Adams. Those are my favorite. Sabonis is going to be thrown in there too. I'm going to say Christian Wood is not on the top of my priority list right now, at least not according to ownership. Ownership, he's at 21% right now. That should change. Obviously, Ilyasova is going to eat into that ownership. But again, we're waiting for these minutes to get updated here. Ross, sorry, I can't read. Ross still a good play, even if Fultz is active. Not as good of a play. I think there's better options on the slate. So no, I do like Ross regardless, but if he's one of your last spots, I won't hate you for it. Oh, it literally just got updated. So 25 minutes. What did I say? 25 minutes. He is an 8.3 on the sheet. Percentage ownership hasn't been updated. We'll wait that. Marvin Williams is obviously out of the picture now. 20 minutes. I don't like him nearly as much. Hopefully people just watching my early morning video don't get mad at me and they don't come back in my video saying that you said that Marvin Williams is a great play and then they roast me the next morning. You guys know how that goes. But if you join the stream, you guys know that Ilyasova is a far better play as of right now. Nobody's minutes really got changed. DiVincenzo's still at 23. That's one guy I'm actually not as high on as I normally am, DiVincenzo, because 23 minutes, he usually plays about 28 minutes or so whenever Giannis is out, but it looks like George Hill is actually eating into his minutes. So to go back to that question, will George Hill eat into Bledsoe's minutes? No, it looks like it's going to be more DiVincenzo. All right, let's go ahead and build. I'm going to ignore ownership since it's all messed up, so let me get rid of that. I'm going to build 150 laps, and I'll give you guys my favorite options on the slate. For you guys just joining, thank you so much. Appreciate your support. If you could, hit that subscribe button. We do this every single night, live before lock. Obviously give you my favorite plays and according to injury news as well. So again, give you my favorite stacks. My favorite stacks so far are the Spurs, Cleveland, and Milwaukee. Okay, Cleveland and the Spurs for GPPs because they are getting overlooked right now. I will get to your questions in just a second here. Just a second. All right. So, Bledsoe, Middleton, Ilyasova. Get out of here, Marvin Williams. Why is he still up here? I'm going to exclude him from the player pool. I should. Bledsoe, Middleton, Ilyasova, my favorite cash plays. Lock and load them. Those are the guys you should be building around. Okay, since Ilyasova is now in the starting rotation. I love Aaron Baines so much that I think he's cash viable. I know he's only showing at 10%, but I love him so much he should be considered for cash. Devin Booker the same. Good thing about those guys is that, well, the bad thing about those guys is that they're playing in the first game. So only play those guys if you hear injury news on Indiana, Dallas again. Those are going to switch up the slates at least for DraftKings. Okay. Other cash viable guys. You could throw Randall in there, and DeRozan, their ownership is showing pretty high. I think DeRozan is going to be your other guy that you're going to lock for cash. I think he's that good of a play. Again, I really, really do like... Oh, what's wrong with my face? Why is it showing a see-through? Let me turn off my light. All right. DeRozan is going to be cash viable. Okay. I see a question. SF is crappy majority all the time. Who's your favorite? I do like DeRozan today. And obviously Middleton. That's a great play for a small forward. Probably the play. The only play that you should consider. Troy Brown's also in the mix again, showing a good value play. All right, Bledsoe, Delly, Middleton, Ilyasova, Baines, Luka, Randall, Booker, GPP. I like that. Again, if Porzingis is ruled out, Doncic is going to be a really, really good option. DeRozan scares me. Who else for util? 75 or under. Yeah, DeRozan is scary, but again, like on our models and in this pace-up spot, I really wouldn't get scared about that. Guys, you know DFS changes from night to night. I wouldn't look. The biggest thing to not look at, guys, is recent performances. Can be very deceiving because matchups and rotations and all that good stuff. Don't look at recency bias. I let that be I've let that be a trap so many times. Who else for util 75 and under? Let's look. Chris Paul, another great play. Randall, definitely a good play. And Sexton, definitely a good play. All those guys are great plays. You can honestly, and even Rubio, that's a really good range. I like all those guys, honestly. I don't think you can go wrong with any one of those guys, except for Kemba. DeRozan or Randall cash? DeRozan. Who would you play? Would you play Randall over DeRozan? Depends on the contest. I could see you getting behind Randall for GPPs. I already read that. Randall or DeRozan, just answered that. Samson for ND for 3,200 and DK for value. Again, we're still waiting on Indiana. I won't know until Warren is ruled out. Hopefully we get that news. Vooch and Bam for GPPs. Definitely a viable option. Bam has plenty of upside going against Miami. Bam has plenty of upside going against the Wizards. GPP line, Delly, DeRozan, Middleton, Ilyasova, Baines, Luka, Lyles, Sabonis. I have to read that again. Luka. I see a lot of you starting Luka. Guys, I only am very high on Luka if Porzingis is out. Again, I really do like the Houston ownership right now. So if for some reason Porzingis news comes out before lock, I am honestly going to be more on Houston. Okay? I like both those guards. Westbrook and Harden. Just because of their ownership. But yeah, I mean, you guys are right. Obviously, Doncic is the play if Porzingis is out. Fox or CP3? That's a good question. That's actually a very good question. Honestly, man, I like Fox a lot tonight. I think he's just underpriced in general. That's tough. Do you want? I'll say Sano. I'll say Fox because then you have that late night pivot option just in case random freaky injury news does come out. I think that's your safer bet. I know you play DraftKings. Sabonis looking good for tonight. Sabonis is looking great. Again, we're pending that injury news from Indiana. If I get any more Indiana questions, guys, I'm not going to answer them. No, I'm just kidding. But the Indiana news, okay, is very, very big. It's going to change the slate for sure. Warren plays tons of minutes, and obviously it's going to shake up the slate. Porzingis is active. All right, so that gets interesting. I'm definitely not that high on Dallas just because of that over-under. They are in a pace-down spot. Indiana plays some of the best defense in the league. Doncic isn't a decent option. But again, if you guys are looking for upside, the ownership on these Houston guys are showing very, very low. I will say that. So if we look at percentage ownership, it's still not changing. I'm still waiting for that. Obviously, Ilyasova is going to be the chalkiest guy in the slate, not Marvin Williams. Marvin Williams or Ilyasova. Ilyasova 100% now. I'm locking Justin Jackson if Porzingis is out. Yep, he is playing though. Christian Wood for 40 again on a back-to-back. I'm not as high on Christian Wood as I am some of these other power forward center options. A ton of power forward center options. Baines atop the list. Ilyasova atop the list. I can actually go back here. Ilyasova, Baines. Oh, I didn't even talk about Finney Smith. Finney Smith is a good play regardless. He's only 6'6". I mean, he's a 6.6 point per dollar value on a sheet. He's playing 30 minutes. Another good value play. Again, showing 1% ownership. Derek Jones in there. Miles Turner, a fantastic option. Brooke Lopez is probably the best out of all of them if you're looking for a safe option. I mean, there's so many options. I think Christian Wood doesn't get priority over any one of those guys, to be honest. But, I mean, Christian Wood's still a decent play. Fade Turner with KP playing. Fade Turner with KP playing. Are you saying because of the matchup? No. Miles Turner is definitely still a good option. Finney out. Oh. Well, that changes everything. Sorry, guys. I'm not getting these updates. I'm looking at the chat. Sorry if I look like an idiot. All right, I get it. He's out. Gosh. Finney Smith is out. So that's pretty significant. So let's look here. It's significant as far as minutes. Jeez. Calm down. It's like I just killed somebody. No. Thanks for helping out, guys. Yeah, he's not out of the player pool yet, so I'm going to wait for those minutes to update. Obviously, guys, this is why you joined the stream, so you guys can break it down with me. Yeah, no, I did ask for spam. I apologize. I'm sorry. Again, my phone, I'm looking at over here. Like, it's way out of the picture, so I have to, not only do I get the update, and not only do I not see the updates, but I have to, like, reach across the screen way over here to my right. So I see your chat. Your chat's moved over closer, so I look at the chat before I do my phone. All right? Yeah, is Finney Smith out, guys? Let me know. DeRozan or Randall. I think that's the biggest question that we've got. And it looks like you guys are falling on making that decision on your lineup construction. So I like DeRozan for his upside. Pace-up spot against Cleveland. DeRozan, just based on just going off of, not off of recency bias, obviously he's going to drive down ownership. I like DeRozan for GPPs a lot. Randall is just a safer option because he's 7.2, and obviously power forward centers are just safer options in general. I like both of them. Their percentage ownership looks about the same. It's going to be tough. I really do like the Spurs. I'm not just saying it because I'm a Spurs fan. I like the Spurs because they are going to get overlooked tonight. It looks like they just updated the player pool. I'm going to say DeRozan, okay? I know you guys are looking for a straight answer, so I'm going to say DeRozan. Ilyasova starting, yes, he is starting, and he is going to be one of the chalkiest guys on the slate now. I have to update for percentage ownership. This is what DFS channel needed. The corgi is trying to tell you. You guys hear the corgi? I'm sorry. I turned down the sensitivity on my mic so that only when I'm up close, it like activates and it hears my voice. But obviously the dog barking, if you guys can hear that, I'll have to turn it down just a little bit more. Wood or Adebayo? I actually like Adebayo's upside tonight. Only because going against Washington, obviously in a smash spot. Milwaukee's ownership did not update, and that's frustrating. When I get off at 5:30, I might have to come back and update you guys on the ownership. I think that's going to be crucial tonight. Butler or Randall GPP? Butler because he's carrying lower ownership. What about, yeah, so I just got two Jimmy Butler questions. Yeah, I touched base on him earlier. You go obviously target superstars in the pace of spots against Washington. Butler does fit that mold. Bad or a very good matchup. Showing very low ownership. I do like him in GPPs for sure. Has plenty of upside. Bucks minutes with Illy starting here. So Middleton at 33 minutes, Bledsoe at 28, Lopez at 27, and Ilyasova at 25. But we know Ilyasova averages exactly 1 fantasy point per minute with Giannis off the court, so that obviously is very, very good for somebody at 3K. You're literally getting him for the bare minimum price at 25 minutes, fantasy point per minute, very productive in the starting rotation. All right, so Bledsoe, Harden, DeRozan, Ilyasova, Baines, Deli, Middleton, CP3. Yeah, not a bad lineup. I like that. I'm assuming for GPP because CP3 is going to be virtually unowned, and Baines is low owned, but I like Baines a lot. Harden's going to be lower owned. I don't think Butler's a waste of money tonight. I really don't. I think Butler has some upside. Jones Jr., good play. Yes, Jones Jr., we touched base on him. If Fultz is ruled out, who do you guys like for Orlando? Terrence Ross is a fantastic play, averaging 1.13 fantasy points per minute. Gets a ton of usage from that. Obviously, Augustine will almost be a guaranteed lock. He'd play upwards of 30 minutes. 3.6K price tag. Should be in the starting rotation. Augustine and Terrence Ross are going to be the almost must guys, at least for GPPs, because they're going to carry very low ownership. Okay, and Augustine will be fairly chalky. Again, I kind of hope that the injury news comes out after the slate locks, so that their ownership will be even lower. A lot of these guys will be locking in Milwaukee and Phoenix. Ilyasova or Jones Jr. Ilyasova is a must tonight, and cash and almost in all your GPPs. He's a must. Very productive without Giannis on the court. Okay? If you're debating between Ilyasova and somebody else, it's going to be Ilyasova. Ilyasova is one of the most chalky guys on the entire slate. I'm still waiting for his percentage ownership to update. I will go ahead and update one last time here. See if it did. It looks like it did. Ilyasova is actually not showing that high of ownership. That's amazing for us. All right, so let me do some magic here and break down the slate real quick for you guys. Yeah, guys, I try to take hard stances for you guys on people so that you're not debating. I know a lot of other YouTubers and DFS advice, they don't give you a straightforward answer. I try to be as straightforward as I can. So Ilyasova should be in all your lineups. Yeah, I mean, so no, people are going off in my other Discord, or people in my other Discord is off Baines. Yeah, I mean, there's so many other options. I get it, but he's just coming at such low ownership that I'm willing to take advantage of that. So I think that's enough leverage. I wouldn't be surprised if Baines only gets to 25 points, but again, he has tremendous upside. There's just a very tight rotation with those big guys. Obviously with Kaminsky out and Ayton. So yeah, so this looks not too much has changed. So Bledsoe, Middleton, Ilyasova, DeRozan, very cash viable. Randall's even up there now. I like Baines for cash. Yeah, not too much has changed. Looks like Luka's ownership kind of dropped a little bit. Let's see for these other guys. Harden's went up slightly, and so did... Well, no. Westbrook's actually went down slightly. Harden's went up. So that makes Westbrook a better GPP play, but not by much. I like this ownership on Fox. And Rubio. Yeah, but this Indiana news is going to shake everything up, guys. Best. All right, guys, it is 5:30. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I'm going to answer some last minute questions. I'm not going to get off completely, though. I will be back in about 30 minutes or 15 minutes to answer any last minute questions. We're going to observe all the ownership. It's going to be drastic for tonight, okay? Rubio or Smart Rubio? DeRozan over Booker. Yes, I like DeRozan better. Best shooting guard, 8K. I don't know how many of you guys are up there for 8K. DeMar DeRozan, I like Butler. I like both those guys. And Booker. I like DeRozan the best for value. What about Beal ownership? Beal ownership is very low, but keep in mind he's playing in the pace down spot. Again, not as high on Beal as I normally am. Beal is showing 7%. TJ Warren, leg, if this, he's available to play. Okay, so that makes things easier on us, but I kind of wanted him to be out because I like crazy slates. But that still makes Turner viable. Like, let's look at this Indiana picture. TJ Warren's not a bad play anymore. Sabonis is still a good GPP option. Aaron Holiday playing 4.3K. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of underpriced players in this game. Man, I wish Warren would have been ruled out. I would have been a lot happier. All right, guys. So again, not too much has changed. If you guys are getting off for the last time and not coming back and joining, Bledsoe, Middleton, Ilyasova, DeRozan, Baines, Booker, Randall. If you guys can get all those guys into a lineup, then you're set. I will be back. All right. So guys, listen to some non-copyrighted music. Again, I will be back to help. right, guys. So, again, not too much changing for the slate in general. It looks like it's going to be the same. However, I did notice a couple things. And let me refresh the page here. And also, guys, please spam the chat if there are any late-breaking injury news for the slate, because it's a crazy one. So I'm definitely interested in the Orlando news because that will shake up things a ton. So I noticed one thing, and this is what I noticed. That, hold on, let me just make sure. Yes, it hasn't changed. The ownership on Ilyasova, first of all, is really low. It's too low. Okay, it's low enough that you can take a huge advantage by plugging in Ilyasova and GPP's in cash. Okay, I love that combo. All right, hold on 1 second, guys. So the ownership on Milwaukee in general is very, very, very low. Hold on. Also, guys, not too much has changed with Dallas. Hold on, I need to update my Patreon real quick. Sorry, guys. 1 second. I will get to all your questions. Just bear with me. It also looks like OKC's ownership went up. So, like, Schroeder went up in ownership. I don't like him as much for GPPs. Sorry, guys. Also posting the double up lineup. I promise I'll get to all your questions. Again, if you're interested in taking the double up lineup, I am posting that right now to our website. A lot of multitasking here without TJ. As you guys know, I suck at multitasking in general. Almost done. All right, I'm good now. Let's go to the questions. Sorry about that. All right, so Yeah, like I said, so not too much has changed with Dallas. So Dallas, don't flood to Dallas because Finney Smith got ruled out. Nothing really changed too much. Okay, ownership on Milwaukee is too low. Okay, Orlando, I would save some last spots for Orlando swaps. If you guys are playing DraftKings, make sure you're not taking too many people from Phoenix. I do like Baines, but again, I don't know if I'm willing to take the risk with Orlando's guys getting ruled out. Okay, that's the only thing. Okay. All right. Walker, what about him? Kemba Walker, there's too many studs on that team. I really am not high on Walker tonight. Just there's a lot of better options. Opposed to DeRozan being the top guy, DeRozan's a good option for sure. Thoughts on Rubio? Rubio's ownership is very low. Again, I would avoid Phoenix just because of this Orlando swap. I purposefully have Terrence Ross in a lot of my lineups. I'm willing to take that risk, and if he is, if Fultz is actually playing, I can pivot straight to him. I gave you guys a little bit of a strategy there. Fultz is a great option tonight. He's going to be very, very low owned. Is Fultz out? Somebody just said Fultz out. Is he out? If Fultz is out. I don't see that. See, this is why I don't trust you guys. All right. Let's see. I'm about to make a single entry GPP. So you guys can watch me make a single entry GPP. I'm about to enter a contest here. I'll give you guys some last minute contests. If you guys don't have any questions, I don't see any questions coming in here. So top stud ownership, I don't think it changed too much. Let's go to salary here. James Harden, 13%. Doncic, 26%. Again, this is all tournament. Beal, 7%. Westbrook, 16%. Porzingis, 5%. Vooch is another great option, 15%. Yeah, Sean, you are trolling. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. Yeah, if Fultz is out, guys, I like Terrence Ross and Augustine a lot. Okay? I will say that now. Save room for last-minute pivots if you're playing single entry and just GPPs in general. Okay? Save a lot of room for that. I'm going to make a single entry GPP and give you guys some good contests here. If you guys want. There's a lot of good contests. Like there's $1 max entry 14. That's a great contest. There's only 400 people in there. There's a 396 person GPP. These are the contests that I love to target. If you guys are playing GPPs right now is the time to start entering these contests. Okay? A lot of good contests here. A lot of good tournaments for GPPs. I'm looking for a single entry, and I can't even find a single entry. Here's a 4-point play one. There's only 44 people in this. There's a $4 GPP. There's only 44 people in it. That is perfect for GPPs. All right. There's a single entry, $12 max entry 1. I guarantee you that's not going to fill. So I'm building around Bledsoe. Maybe they're all trolling. Hold on, guys. There's a ton of good GPP contests. Markelle Fultz will play. All right, so Markelle Fultz is a great play. I will say right now that the Bucks ownership is very low. Very low owned. Lower than it should be. At least I'm not saying very low owned in general, just lower owned than it should be. Sorry, guys. I'm entering my own lineups here real quick. All right. So Fultz is coming in at very low ownership, okay? So I like Fultz for a GPP option. Obviously, with these current injuries out, he still rates very well on our sheet. I'm going to make a pivot from Ross and all my contests straight over the Ross, or from Ross over the Fultz. So that's a very good option. Obviously, I wanted more injuries to come out so that it could shake up the slate even more. But again, the slate just looks the same in general. Well, let me go to my first build here. Bledsoe, Middleton, Ilyasova, DeRozan, Booker, Turner. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to answer any questions you guys have, and then I'll go ahead and get off. Bam is a great player, and with some upside tonight. I do like that against Washington. Confidence in Porzingis 60% with injury news. Same for Fultz. I do like Fultz, guys. Shabazz Napier, a good GPP play, not as good as some of these other plays. Beal or Harden, I'm going to say Harden for ownership. His ownership is generally just too low. Chris Paul is still a good play. Yeah, Chris Paul. OKC's ownership actually went up more than it should have. I mean, all of these guys' ownership went up. And the guys that get impacted the most are actually Steven Adams and Chris Paul. So that's actually very interesting. I'm not as high on OKC as the public is. There's definitely way better options in these other games. I like Baines again tonight, guys. I like Baines even more now since all this injury news has come out. All right, so if you guys want to pivot to Baines, I'm actually pivoting all of my guys from Ross over to Fultz right now. All right, Westbrook, Beal, Turner, Baines, then some chalk. Yeah, those are all great plays tonight. Beal's coming in very low owned. The only thing I don't like about him is his upside. Bledsoe, Fultz, Middleton, Ilyasova, Bam, Fox, Butler, Baines. Yes, great lineup. I like that. You're playing it safe with those two Heat guys. You have the high owned guys from Middleton, Ilyasova, and Bledsoe. For sure. Dellavedova or Fultz. I like Delly for value. If straight up, I like Fultz. SFGPP plays. Again, the ownership on DeRozan is showing lower than it should. Middleton should be in there no matter what. DeRozan, Butler's a great play. Warren becomes a very viable play, and Derrick Jones to top the list. All right, guys, it is now 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and get off, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all the support. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I do this every single night. I will be back with TJ tomorrow. So again, guys, appreciate all the support here. Have a great night, and let's cash.